Hi, hello everyone. Hopefully I'm audible. We are at time and kicking off 67 minutes of solidarity Twitter space. My name is Emma Inyekong and I serve as the program and partnership manager for the Giving Tuesday Africa Hub. With me, co-moderating would be Paige. I'll let Paige introduce herself and then we could go ahead introducing our wonderful guests.
Hello, Emma. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. So it's an absolute pleasure to be with everyone today. Hi, Irene. Hi, Catherine. So I would just like to welcome everyone to this session to discuss the value of generosity and its impact in our lives and celebrate Mandela Day today. I'm excited to hear from everyone and especially to hear about how we're interlinking solidarity in our various activities and how we're igniting the Mandela spirit in the work that we are doing as a sector. So I'd like to hand it over again to Emme. I'm seeing people are coming in. Welcome to everyone who's joining. We're just about to start, waiting for a quorum, then we'll soon start. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paige. I can already hear the excitement in your voice, and I feel the same. I'm going to reach out to the speakers that are currently on. I see that Irene is here. I see Tony is here. I believe Snare is here also, and then Mike. So I'm going to please call on Irene. If we can just do a brief introduction so we know who we'll be listening to.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience when I had the mic issue. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Yes, this is Irene Gavenji. I am the project director for Year 2 Initiative. And Year 2 Initiative has been working with community organizations, civil society groups to support in capacity development, capacity building. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Irene. I'll call on Tony. Please, a little introduction.
Okay. Thank you so much for organizing this session. My name is Tony, and I am a youth activist and global activist with One Campaign, where I advocate for eradication of poverty and preventable diseases through policy advocacy. I'm also a program manager at Unite 2030, a youth-led organization that empowers a global community of 20,000 young people that are interested in making impact in their community. I am excited to be here and joining the conversation today. I look forward to the next 67 minutes that we have together. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Tony. It's really interesting to hear about your work. I would call on Snare, if Snare is on, to please introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Snare Vilagazi. I am the Giving Tuesday South Africa lead. I'm also a brand South Africa Play Your Part ambassador, and the organization is one that is very similar to Giving Tuesday. However, it's at a local scale in South Africa, and I'm also the owner of a digital marketing and communications agency called Vugawanele. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Snare, and you're like the perfect person to be on today, and we're so excited to have you. I would also like to call on Mike. Mike, if you could please make an introduction. All right, so it seems that Mike is unable to speak right now, but hopefully he's able to learn voice soon because I believe that he has a lot to say. I'm going to just go right into the spirit of the day and set, like a premise as to what we're speaking about today, right? So this year marks the 10th anniversary of Nelson Mandela Madiba's passing way back in December 2013, and it has been themed by the Nelson Mandela Foundation as the legacy lives on through you, particularly. And I do know that acts of solidarity are, in fact, acts of generosity. Now, in Giving Tuesday, we believe, in really amplifying what they call generosity as a movement and as an organization. And so we thought it would be a great thing to hear voices from the communities across Africa and individuals who are doing great work, both within organizations and even personally, as to how the spirit of Madiba lives on, what you do within your community, what you believe in, first according to solidarity, and just to really set out time and space within the 67 minutes allocated to kind of raise light to how actions, little actions of generosity, little ripples can create that big wave, which is similar to what Madiba had been able to do during his lifetime. So I would like to ask, and this question goes out to every speaker on, and even to those who are joining in, to also give thought, right? To ask the question, what is that one thing that reminds you of Mandela's spirit? And this could be a movie, a song, a quote, anything that reminds you of Mandela that you would like to share as we said, President. Whoever would want to go on ahead and speak, please feel free to do so.
I'm happy to go first.
Sure, Tony, please do.
Yeah, so I think my earliest remembrance of even getting to know the name Nelson Mandela was when I was maybe in early primary school, and it was through a song by Brenda Fassie, which is Black President. So if you know that song that goes, I will dance for my president, I will sing for my president. I mean, I think at the time I didn't think so much of it, but I had questions like, why would someone sing for their president saying they would dance for their president? And I had that question maybe subconsciously, and later on in life when I began to understand and learn about the works of Nelson Mandela, I think I understood why someone would go on to sing such a heartfelt song for a leader. And for me, that it's kind of something that speaks to me in terms of service. It shows how much he was loved by his people and how much his people appreciate his effort and service that he did during his time. So yeah.
That resonates so deeply. And right now I am Googling the song. Thank you so much for sharing, Tony. I'm looking out for more, contributions.
I can go next. Thank you so much. This is Irene Gathinji of Year 2 Initiative. For those who are joining now, yes, I lived in Pretoria, South Africa between 2007 and 2018. And every year I made a point of visiting a monument that was linked to Tata Mandela. And it was very overwhelming to go to Robben Island. And I went with my family. And I can say that just listening to the stories from the tour guide who know the jail, the story about the jail and the time in Robben Island was very, very overwhelming. And also was privileged to go and visit the hospital as he lay on the last days of his life, just outside Pretoria, just to see how much he was loved and how many people came out to stay, to hold wakes and pray for him. And just being there during that time was quite overwhelming. And just the thought of this of our commemoration was an opportunity for me to say thank you to his spirit and what he's done for the world and humanity at large. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Irene. That is really so heartfelt. And I kind of, can connect to what you're saying and the spirit of what Mandela represented, just listening to you speak. And it's really, really cool that you have been able to just go through all this and interact in the way you have. And I imagine how it must be for so many other people. I'll leave the floor open for anyone else who would want to join and say something.
I would like to go next.
Oh, awesome. Great to hear you.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Michael. I'm from Mchanga. You give a chance to Mike to speak. So I was not sure if it is Mike or Michael. So in regard to Nelson Mandela, this movie about Evicus, where Mandela used football to unite the country. So he used so that the games bring people together. So through that movie or that Evicus movie, there's that where he used the football to bring to unite the country together. And it's one movie that I keep on watching most of the times. Like I think I watch it twice every year just to see how he used that to unite the country together, different culture coming together. Thank you.
Oh, that's so good to hear. I am a big movie buff, and I'm glad that that's something that we can resonate around. I would like to give space to Snare. If you're able to, please go ahead and join me. Okay, Snare, if you're with me, I would like to just hear your thoughts on
Hi
what
everyone.
reminds you.
Emma,
Yeah. Yes, please.
I just want to be clear on the question. Was it how
One
Mandela
thing.
Day is important to us, or the first time we heard of Mandela in our respective countries?
Snare, it's what reminds you of Mandela's spirit. So it's the first recollection of interaction with Mandela, anything around maybe a movie, an experience, music, anything at all. Why is solidarity important? And if anyone is familiar with the history and the story of Nelson Mandela, we would be able to possibly answer this, but I will give space to our dear speakers to chime in and give us thought around this question. Why solidarity? Why is it important to you?
So for me, I think that solidarity is one of those ideals that are really important in today's world for several reasons. I mean, even the fact that the world is very much connected today, we're able to kind of have information with regards to challenges that other parts of the world are experiencing, and then have a way of connecting with that and showing support, so they can be able to overcome. I think that beyond this, the world is currently in a situation where the challenges we face are experienced by everyone. Take, for instance, climate change. We cannot say today's challenges are peculiar to a particular set of people. And so what that means is for us to overcome these challenges, the ideals of solidarity and some of the lessons that we learn from the lives of Nelson Mandela is very important for us to be able to overcome these challenges that we share as a people. But then also to add is one of the things that I remember from the very first speech that Nelson Mandela gave after his release from prison. The very first sentences were something like, thank you because you cared. And I think that caring is one of those things that will remain fundamental to the ideals of solidarity. And I think that, it's such a big and profound principle that we need, not just for ourselves, but for us to also strive as a species that exists on this planet Earth. So that's my take on it.
Thank you so much, Tony. That's really insightful. I'd like to invite Irene if you could share some thoughts around what solidarity means to you and why it's important.
Yeah, solidarity is what has made us as a people, as communities. And it is extremely important, as Tony has said, because we are sharing the same earth, we are sharing same country, we are sharing same community. And when problems come or when we have calamities and challenges, we are faced as a people individual. So solidarity is so important, and traditionally just appreciating where we've come from. The rhyme and reason and rhythm of the community was about solidarity, so that unified communities came together to prepare land and plant and harvest and celebrate a harvest through eating together. And as we modernize and comes maybe live in communities away from our traditional settings, we are also trying very much to mimic those communities. So you find neighborhood associations in cities. You find alumni who went to the same schools. You find groups of people who've been colleagues, mates of work, and that is very important. And in fact, just coming and appreciating about giving as we talk, find that those groups and associations are the ones then that becomes the platform through which we then respond to the needs. If one of us has a need, or if something comes and we need to actually pitch in and support. So solidarity in day-to-day living becomes such an important us as a human to survive and be able to take on the challenges that we face today, but also to celebrate what we are able to achieve. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Irene. And as you said, it's really poignant that our we're able to
Hi
identify.
everyone, I hope I'm audible.
Oh, yes.
But yeah.
Yes, Nay, you can proceed.
Oh, okay. So I was saying, for me, when we speak about the concept of solidarity, one thing I know about Nelson Mandela is that he was very, very strong, or he was a big believer when it comes to solidarity, and many of the messages and what he stood for was firmly backed up by his belief in solidarity. Because when you are together, when you are fighting against something, or fighting for something that you believe in, it's much easier to overcome if you are doing it as a combined force. There's synergy to that. So when you think about all the challenges that we're tackling, at that time, the apartheid was the biggest challenge, but now, there's the climate change, there is, the inequality. And if you think about it, it'll take us much longer for us to overcome those issues if we don't agree on taking collective action. I actually believe you can't achieve anything without collective action, because no man is an island. So there's even that proverb, that African proverb, that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with somebody else. And to me, that is what solidarity stands for. It's about progression in the most effective form of progression is only through solidarity and working together with a collective. You can achieve so much more, and you can become so much more effective. Thank you.
Thank you, Sneh. Thanks so much for your insight. And I'm glad I'm able to have you continue, right? So I'm going to ask Mike if he's able to speak so we can hear his voice. Hi, Mike. Just checking in on your thoughts around solidarity. Okay, it seems that Mike is unable to join in at this time. So I'll go right ahead, right, to hand over to Paige, my co-moderator, so she can go into the next set of questions.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much. Thank you to our host, Irene, and Tony, to our guests. My next question would be, why are giving traditions important? The ways we give, the forms of giving, our cultures and our ways of giving, why are they important to us, even as we consider the the magnitude of the day we are celebrating. So I'd like to find out from you, Tony first, then Irene would follow, then Sneh, then Mike would finish on why giving traditions really matter to us as Africans and in our community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think for me, giving traditions are very important. If we don't have them, we would have kind of a very unequal world. And I don't think that there's anyone anywhere that would want to live in a world that is unequal, that is, or at least lacks some level of equity. And I think that giving traditions helps us to be equitable and support those who need support. And, just like we were saying, when I think, I'm not sure who mentioned that African proverb about going far with people. That same proverb could also be interpreted in terms of going far with receiving support from people. And that will not be made possible if we do not live the ideals of giving. And I know sometimes we would want to associate kind of giving with financial giving, which is good and one of the most powerful way to give. But of course, there are other forms that a person could give and show solidarity. It could be giving your time. It could be giving your resources that you have, maybe not necessarily financial. It could be network that you have that someone would find helpful. It could be knowledge that you have. Yeah, there's just so much that we can give. And I think that it's something that we should emulate even more, given the kind of circumstance that we live in today, where the world is just experiencing multiple crises from different angles and at the same time. It's just one of those things that I think that we are at a time where it has never been very more important for us to uphold, even as Africans.
All right, then I wonder, Irene, would you be able to come on and share? Okay,
I could
there.
just chip in
For
there.
sure. For sure.
Giving for me, I think is important. And I agree with so many of the points that Tony mentioned. But, in life, the truth of the matter is that everything happens in cycles and seasons. At some point in life, you might find that I am going through a difficult time, or my neighbor is going through a difficult time, or another country, if I take it to a more of a larger scale, they are going through some kind of challenges in their country. And because we're never even really at the same point in our lives, it's always important to reach out and be a support structure for a person that will need you the most at that time, because there will never be a time when everybody is happy, when everybody has enough. But yet, because we operate as a society and as a collective, we need to be able to provide strength and support to each other on a regular basis. Because, as I mentioned, today I could be in a privileged position, and then tomorrow I'm not okay. This is when traditions such as giving would be the ones on how. This is why traditions like that would be important to uphold in cases like that.
Thank you. Yes, that is very powerful, Sneh, and really appreciate that giving has been part of us. Yes, and I'm reminded of the concept of Ubuntu, that collective solidarity that really speaks to person cannot exist without the others. I am because you are, and therefore giving acknowledges our own humanity, that we do know that when somebody is in need, it is not because they have not done what they are supposed to do, or they are less blessed, but we do understand the ups and downs of life, and most likely that we will also be in a point where we'll be in need of something, and somebody else is going to help. So that giving is so important. But I'm also reminded of the tradition of paying it forward, so that someone helps me, and I do know for sure that it will be almost impossible for me to repay that person. And therefore, in giving, I'm giving the other person who is in need, and that is the way we actually practice Ubuntu. So there is the aspect of giving to each other, giving because the other person is in need, but also knowing that we are so much in need. And one thing that we COVID times is that it doesn't matter what rank you are, how much money you have, how pretty or handsome you are. We are so human, all of us, and we will be in a point of need at one time or the other, or even a time most vulnerable that even the material things that we have are not sufficient. So I'm thinking of giving even from the perspective of spiritual support and that solidarity together during the times of calamity, of even availing your time technically to support a person who may need that, and mentoring. Thank you. There was a bit of a noise, but I hope you heard it. Thank you.
We did. It did sound like clapping because a great way to end.
Sorry, Irene, that was
I'm not so familiar with this. I appreciate.
No, that was me clapping. I was agreeing with what you're saying. And I was agreeing with it because thinking about it, I mean, today is Mandela Day. And so I was out with the team at a Nelson Mandela activation, which was Rise Against Hunger. And so it was a food parcel packing initiative or activation. And what particularly struck a chord with me when I got there was that we found every kind of person there. There were school children, there were CEOs of companies, there were cleaners, there were, young people. The variety of people that was there is what I found the most heartwarming, that people could make time out of their day. People have an identity or something that they believe in to a point where they would leave an office space and go there to do something that would be of value to a society or to a person in need. It was so heartwarming for me. And Mandela Day is a tradition. It is a tradition, and people were out there in numbers. I can't even remember now how long Mandela Day has been running for. I feel like for as long as I know, it's a tradition. Now I call it a tradition that has always been there. So I'm clapping and I'm celebrating because I'm reminded now of just earlier on today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sneh and Irene, Tony, for your sentiments.
Thank you. I really appreciate that story, Sneh, and I can remember the days I joined Mandela Day painting school, children's centers, or just going out to spend some time. I think that 67 minutes has been very special. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. As we continue the conversation, the one thing I remember about Mandela from a movie is Invictus, the rugby movie that portrayed him as a symbol of unity, bringing together, using the all black sports team to break racial biases and promote reconciliation. So for me, I would like to find out, how does the Mandela spirit influence the work you do? From my end, his spirit of unity and promoting of equality is a reminder that we all have the power to contribute to good in the society. So I'd like to find out from our speakers, how does the Mandela spirit influence the work that you do and promote your work in the communities and in your society as a whole? I would like Tony to go first. Thank you. I don't know if Mike has been able to
Is
join.
it me or I really cannot hear Amy or Paige? So sorry.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
I can
now?
hear you, Paige. I'm hoping others can hear you. Please, can others hear Paige?
Yes, we can hear you. It's just that there's some background noise where you are at.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get internet. So I'm in a coffee spot because there's no internet in my
I'm
location.
so
So
sorry.
yeah, so I'd like to just find out how does the Mandela spirit influence your work? Because for me, it has taught me that everybody plays a role in the greater good of the society. No matter who they are, where they come from, the color of their skin, we all have a role to play. So I'd like to find out from the other people how does Mandela spirit influence the work that you do? Thank you.
Thank you. I think you suggested that I go first.
Yes, I did, Mike. You can proceed.
Great. So I think the spirit of Mandela has influenced me in several ways. One of the first way that I think he influenced me is the idea of fairness and justice. One of his powerful quotes that I still hold today close to me talks about, you know, how tackling poverty isn't a gesture of charity, but more of an issue of justice. And so, in when I when I started kind of my journey in trying to um, be someone that is impact focused, I had this at the back of my mind where I would volunteer simply because I felt like certain people needed certain support, and so my time, my resource in supporting others, this would be at the center of my mind and would guide kind of how I would commit to the cause. But I also think that when we look at Mandela's life, another valuable lesson that we can learn is the fact that change takes time, and so not looking for short-term benefits or looking for shortcuts to making real lasting change, realizing that real lasting change takes time, it takes sacrifice. And so even in the work that I do today as an activist, as a youth advocate, or even the programs that I run, I keep this in mind that it will things to change, but that doesn't mean that progress is not being made. That doesn't mean that the work that we're putting in isn't making an impact. Just understanding that real lasting change takes time, and I find encouragement in this. These are some of the ways that the last spirit has influenced me to keep going.
Thank you, Tony. I'd like to hear from Irene. How has Mandela spirit influenced the work that you do and yourself as an individual? Hello, Mike. I would like to hear from you. Welcome.
Okay, can you hear me?
You're better now.
Yes, we can.
Oh, you can. So for me, Mandela is someone who fought for the rights of everyone. One that put where everyone has the same political, economic, social, cultural rights, right? And of that. And when I look at the world we live in today, and let me specifically look at Africa, that is while we see certain political freedom, in reality, there are many of our people, hundreds of millions of Africans, are still suffered by the prisons of poverty, of ignorance, of suffering, of discrimination. Meaning that if I'm a kid born into a poor family today, it doesn't matter how clever I am. If I am unable then to get the same kind of opportunity a child born in a better off family has, simply
because my parents were poor, yeah, or I come from a single household. Yeah. Similarly, then if my name is not known and I don't have the connections, I don't belong to the old boys network, I can't compete on the same level as everyone else. We know in many of our African countries that if you have money, you are kind of above the lowest person country, and you are able then to get away with a lot. Yeah, if I look at the country I come from, Kenya, yeah, if I steal a chicken today, I'll be in for 7 years. But if I steal a billion shillings, I won't get out. So when I tie down the work that we're doing, is we're trying to get a two-free society, yeah, where every living being, every African, for example, continent has the same opportunity, the same right, not to prison by the fact they are born in a poor family or in a slum, yeah, or they don't have extra benefits just because you are born in a richer neighborhood to a better known family. So our work is actually about breaking down the doors of prison, freeing our people so that everyone can truly enjoy the benefits that come from it. So Mandela is one of the last nationalists who broke down apartheid in South Africa, opened the door to many more people to be able to right and keep that. But if you look at the Africa that many of our forefathers, this continent fought for independence, if that Africa is not there, you'll have poverty, there's ignorance, democracy, there are a lot of. So every time they go out in our secret, whether we are trying to connect health or housing, yeah, or we are trying to be so closing, it's about breaking those prisons. And that's what Mandela did. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, maybe I can add, if there's no one speaking.
Yes, we can.
Yes, I think having worked with quite a number of groups of people and organizations in trying to figure out how they can be able to raise money, resources, and be able to meet they are serving, they are partnering with. One of the quote that I like using is the one that is very much associated with Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. And in fact, from a personal, I love that. Even from a personal perspective, most of the time we set ourselves to do something and we plan. And of course, the naysayers out there, we don't know how to do that. And one thing that we have to do always is to really get out and do it and continue doing it, because it will actually amount to something. And in fact, in the spirit of giving, in the space of giving, it's appreciating that sometimes you may go out looking for something and then you're given something else instead. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Irene, but we lost you for a couple of seconds. Though we did get the gist of what you were saying.
Amy, could I just add something as well?
Of course.
Discussion. I missed the last one. So for me, I say in Africa we need to share. Yeah. If I lose a loved one today, what is out? And out of nowhere, yeah, people are coming to visit, they are patrolling, resources are found, yeah, we organize the funerals, everything, and it doesn't matter how cheap or expensive it is. But we bury our own, and our family and funerals send food. How were they sent food? Yeah, if I'm watching the TV, like one of the favorite ones here, Citizen, and I see this lady come on and say, look, my kid can't go to school, she's having to go to the street and selling mangoes. I have worked my hands off, the skin is falling off my hands because I've worked too many clothes and I can't look after this kid. Is you'll find by the end of that year, relatives to giving. And people don't give because they have. They give because they know that something is done and practiced. We as Africans, speak as an African, are emotional givers. Yeah. So every single day, because of technology, then we'll get first on our phone. But ask any African how much they gave last month, the last If they can't tell you, I've given a lot this last week as well. But if you ask me then where I have given, I'll have to go to my M-Pesa statement or mobile money transfer statement to look for where the money went, because I give and I forget. Yeah, in Africa, yeah, I often say when you look at African is we pay sharing because giving is dedicated. You have a budget, you know how much you're giving, thought about it. Africans don't operate like that. It's not tax deductible, it's not budgeted, it's compulsive, you just give out of your heart, yeah, and you share. Most of the people give most to have, yeah, and when you give your bigger tradition, let's go to yeah, many of us grew up in homes with relatives, ate with us, were close with us, went to school with us, yeah, because our parents knew it was a whole part of sharing. Yeah, many of the properties we had no fences because I mean you could walk. Yeah, many of our kids who grew up 2, 3 decades ago could eat or sleep in his house. If you went into communities like in Chad, the orphans, yeah, would go into the well and after mothers watch their kids would watch them. I remember when I started working, for example, maybe in the 90s, one of the staff members of that company came and said his mother had died. And of course, we were very sympathetic. Yeah, and we all donated and wished him the best and supported him. And he buried his mother. That was his March. And in August, he comes back and says his mother is dead. And we start asking, how many mothers do you have? But your mother died in March. He said, no, that was the big mother. Now this is the smaller mother who died. Yeah, because in our setting, all your mother's sisters were your mother. All your sisters, mother's sisters were your mother. All your father's brothers were your father. So there's no vacuum. So instead of being orphaned and able to access opportunities such as education and health in our traditional values didn't exist. And if you think about it, look at the unemployment rate in this continent. Look at the poverty rate. How do people survive without a government support system? They survive because there's always someone willing to give something out there, yeah, to keep you afloat. Whether it's in kind or whether it's cash, yeah, there's always money going out. If you walk into an African home, even if they didn't have enough, yeah, is there still their plate for you, even if there's not enough? Because that's who we are, we share. And we don't remember, we don't get. So I think for us, as I bring my comment to an end on sharing, it's about also this day realizing that sharing is not just about money, yeah, but it's also about time, sometimes recognized, yeah, and that was your input is about the things you give, whether it's good, food. But very importantly, yeah, it's also that expression of love, the care, the concern, both bigger values than the few shillings and dollars and rands and the rest structure. Yeah, when there's a funeral again, sorry for example.
Yeah, I think. Thank you, Mike. It was a bit faint, but we could hear you. Thank you so much for the valuable contributions.
Okay, thank you.
Before as we continue, I'd like to hear as well from Snare.
Okay, I wonder if Sneh is still with us. I'm going to repeat the question. It speaks to how the Mandela spirit has influenced the work you do. Seems we might have lost Sneh, but then, in the spirit of continuance, I would like to give some space as we approach the 67 minutes, right? To give some space to our listeners, right? Who would probably be able to tell us their own experiences and personal expressions of solidarity, of generosity, and activism, right? Before we get back to our speakers. So if there's anyone who would like to speak, please let us know. I've tried to. I see that Franklin had requested to speak, and I've tried to accept. If there's anyone else, please just send the request, and the mic will be unmuted. Oh, V, awesome.
Good evening, everybody. May I put my statement there?
Hello.
Yeah. Basically, what kind of solidarity you are talking about? Please explain.
So solidarity we are speaking to here is generosity, activism, everyday social impact and doing good, really, no matter how little, no matter how small.
Okay.
Maybe Kathleen, you'd want to go ahead?
I think first I would have to listen all the person's views. After that, I will just say something about that.
Of course. I'd like to give space then to anyone else who'd want to go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for giving me this space. And I think a reflection for me will be, there's one thing that we all have that and sometimes time, something that we all have and can do where we are is give voice to the causes that we believe in, and voice to issues that bring justice to all of us. And in the spirit of Mandela, he truly represents personal sacrifice that benefited so many people, and let's not forget the contribution that our voice can make in the change we want to see.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I wonder if there's anyone else who'd want to maybe lend voice before I call on our guests. Otherwise, I'm happy to hear from our speakers. They can share personally.
Okay, I would like to introduce myself to all my friends. Myself, Vikas from India. Basically, I am from India, so I am not much aware about what are the biggest challenge over there in Africa for you as a human being or as a citizen of Africa. So, what is the biggest challenge over there?
Oh, all right then. Thank you for that question. It's a good one. However, the thing is, for this Twitter space, we are looking at solidarity for individuals.
Well, I think just to chime in there, I'm not Emma, I'm Snare, but I do realize that a lot of us are having technical challenges in our respective areas. And so we keep getting disconnected. But as a person who is in South Africa, I must say our challenges are quite similar to other areas in Africa, and maybe areas like India. We are dealing with the food security issue. Africa is one of those continents that really feel the full brunt of climate change and global warming when it comes to issues like food production. Our societies are still the most, in South Africa, for example, we still have the most unequal society compared to many other countries around the globe. We are facing issues around GBV, issues around inequalities. There's so many things that it's difficult for me to pinpoint one particular area that we are fighting for. And that's why days like Mandela Day are so important to me as a person, because it's not enough to just champion one particular cause when the issues are so varied in our respective countries. And it's not enough to pick a particular group to champion a cause. So, for example, saying it's the responsibility of non-profits or of the government to do something about the challenges that we're facing in our respective countries. Every person here, no matter who you are, whether you are a corporate or a child, the society that we live in, we collectively own it, and we collectively own we collectively face the challenges in our respective countries. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but the challenges that we face are really quite universal, or rather third world countries. Our challenges are very similar. Thank you.
Amy, I have a few what to say.
Yes, we can hear you, Mike. Please just raise your mic a little bit more.
Let me try. Is it louder now?
Much better.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the common friends, of what we are fighting is the whole issue of poverty. Because with poverty comes all these lack you're talking about, whether it's lack of access to proper healthcare, housing, education, yeah, the inability to buy the basic requirements of life, so that people are always surviving. They're not living. Yeah, there's a sadness that pervades many of the people we are fighting. We're trying to get people beyond survival and existence in real living in a continent with so many resources. So whether it's those of us fighting gender-based violence, those of us trying to give kids education, fighting for healthcare, yeah, fighting to preserve our environment for future generations. It's all about fighting something that comes from this inequality. Yeah, that means that while we have billionaires in our midst, we also have people who can't, who many people are going to be hungry. Yeah, so that's what brings us together in that whole thing of solidarity, seeing a better continent where people are really happy to be alive and are able to enjoy the miracle of life. And because I might not get another opportunity to add on it, let's use an acronym many of us have heard of before. It comes around the hand. Yeah. And I know, like many years ago when I started working, one of the things we did in the company was that a single hand couldn't lift a calabash in your head, an African spirit. Yeah, meaning that we needed each other, we needed partnerships to get things done. Yeah, but again, looking at the hand, look at it then, is say then when you're pointing the finger at someone against African saying, it's for pointing at you because then there's the whole thing about what are you doing about it, even as the
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing. I know Tony had indicated interest in speaking. We are almost at the 67-minute mark, so please go ahead and just give us a brief.
MS, sorry, were you referring to me?
Yes, please.
Oh yes, thank you. I think I just wanted to kind of re-emphasize why solidarity is important today. I think that as we live in our own small circles in our world, just like I think a previous speaker was saying, is we do have similar challenges, especially for us in the developing world, and no country can do it on their own. We will need the support of each other and the encouragement of each other. I think that this is something that we should keep in mind, even if we are not governments, even if we're not, some people might not have the influence that comes with being in some critical positions where they could influence, some of those critical decisions. But I believe as individuals, we do have a role to play. Each and every one of us can raise our voice and contribute to say no to an unjust world, to contributing to a world that is cleaner, take our own part in fighting issues like climate change. And I just want to leave that encouragement for each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. That's such a great way to hit the 67 minutes. Thank you all so much for taking our time to join the Twitter space. Thank you to our incredible guests. Thanks, Ned. Thank you so much, Irene. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Paige. Also moderating. Thanks, Tony. It's been an amazing time, and we really want to, just like Tony had said, lift up our voice, lift up our talents, lift up our time, be able to actively be part of the movement of generosity and solidarity across the world. I hope everyone has taken more than 1 or 2 points away from this and has been inspired in some way, going forward. Thank you again. And 68 minutes signing out. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
me.
Bye bye.
Oh, bye everyone. Thank you.